If your DPF warning light has just come on, you could be days away from being handed a bill for over £1,000. But what many garages won't tell you is that a blocked diesel particulate filter is almost always fixable, and the solution doesn't have to be expensive. However, if you just pour a bottle of cleaner into your tank without understanding why the filter blocked in the first place, it will likely block again. I'm Andy, the Additive Geek. This video is based on my free DPF cleaning guide, which has helped thousands of diesel owners avoid expensive repair bills for over a decade. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact 5-step diagnostic process from that guide, the same process we use to help owners solve DPF issues permanently. But before we get to the fix, we need to address a fundamental misunderstanding. Most drivers treat DPF blockages as if they are exactly the same. They are not. There are two completely different substances that block a DPF. One can be cleared with a £20 fuel additive. The other is entirely immune to chemicals, and if you treat it incorrectly, you can damage the filter. I'll show you exactly how to tell which one you have in a moment. But first, you need to understand what your car is actually trying to do when that warning light appears. To unblock your DPF, you first need to understand the trap your engine is currently stuck in. Your DPF is designed to capture soot, but it cannot store it indefinitely. It has to clean itself through a process called regeneration. In other words, burning the soot into carbon dioxide. There are 3 ways this happens, and the distinction between them is where most drivers make their first expensive mistake. The first is passive regeneration. This is what is supposed to happen. When you drive at sustained speeds, your exhaust naturally reaches between 350 and 500 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, the soot simply burns away. You never notice it happening. But if you drive mostly in town, doing short trips or the school run, the exhaust never gets hot enough. The soot builds up, and that is when the engine computer takes over. This brings us to the second type, active regeneration. When the filter reaches a certain capacity, the engine computer intervenes. It deliberately injects extra fuel upstream of the DPF to the oxidation catalyst to artificially raise gas exhaust temperatures to over 600 degrees. You might notice the cooling fan running hard or a slightly higher idle, and this is where the danger lies. If you interrupt this process or arrive at your destination and turn the engine off during active regeneration, it will never complete, and the extra unburnt fuel has nowhere to go. It drains down the cylinder walls and into your engine oil. This is known as oil dilution. It destroys the lubricating properties of the oil, and if left unchecked, can cause catastrophic engine failure. But what happens when you interrupt this process too many times? The computer simply gives up and locks out the DPF. The warning light comes on permanently, and the car goes into limp mode, which brings us to the third type, forced regeneration. This is where a technician uses a diagnostic tool to force the car to regenerate while stationary. Many people view this as a quick fix. It is not. If a technician forces a regeneration on a filter that is too heavily blocked, the resulting temperature spike can literally melt the ceramic core of the DPF. I will explain exactly when a forced regeneration is safe and when it is dangerous when we get to the 5-step action plan. But first, we need to solve the problem I mentioned at the start of this video. Earlier, I said there are 2 completely different substances that block a DPF, and treating them the wrong way will cost you a new filter. Here is the difference. The first substance is soot. Soot is combustible and is what regeneration is designed to burn away. When you buy a DPF cleaning additive, soot is the only thing it can treat. The second substance is ash. Ash is the incombustible metallic residue left behind by the additives in your engine oil. It cannot be burned. It does not respond to fuel additives. It physically accumulates in the filter over tens of thousands of miles. If your engine consumes oil, or if you find yourself regularly topping up between services, that oil is turning into ash, and that ash is permanently filling your DPF. This is why throwing chemical cleaners at a high mileage car often achieves nothing. The filter isn't blocked with soot, it is physically full of ash. If your filter is full of ash, neither an additive nor any amount of motorway driving will clear it. It requires professional cleaning. But assuming your car isn't suffering from severe ash loading, we are dealing with soot. And to permanently cure a soot blockage, we have to find out why the car stopped cleaning itself. A blocked DPF is rarely the root cause of your problem. It is almost always a symptom. If you clean the filter without finding the cause, you are simply resetting a timer. In a few months or even weeks, the light will likely return. Through 15 years of diagnostics, I see the same 3 hidden causes repeatedly. The first is the most common, yet the least understood. We know that short journeys prevent passive regeneration, but many drivers don't realise that modern engine computers have strict safety parameters for active regeneration. If you habitually drive with less than a quarter of a tank of fuel, the computer will simply refuse to initiate a cleaning cycle. It assumes you need the fuel to reach a petrol station rather than wasting it on cleaning the exhaust. Keep your tank low and your DPF will inevitably block. The second cause is injector degradation. Over time, carbon deposits alter the spray pattern of your fuel injectors. Instead of a fine mist, they deliver larger droplets. This causes inefficient combustion, which produces significantly more soot. The DPF fills up faster than the car can clean it. You can clean the filter, but until you clean the injectors, the excessive soot production will continue. And the third cause is the most dangerous, because it often presents no warning light of its own. Your DPF relies on differential pressure and exhaust gas temperature sensors to know when to regenerate. If the hoses connecting to the pressure sensor perish, or the temperature sensor gives false readings, the computer receives bad data. It either thinks the filter is clean when it is actually full, or it aborts the regeneration prematurely. Similarly, if your exhaust gas recirculation valve sticks open, it increases soot production while simultaneously preventing the computer from running a regeneration. And then there are your glow plugs. Many drivers think glow plugs only matter for starting the car in winter, but modern diesels use them to improve combustion while the engine warms up. If a glow plug fails, the engine produces substantially more soot during every cold start, overwhelming the DPF. Often, there is no warning light on the dashboard to tell you this is happening. If you ignore these underlying issues, the back pressure from the blocked DPF has nowhere to go but backwards, straight into your turbocharger. The intense heat turns oil into carbon inside the turbo, destroying the bearings and eventually shattering the impeller. A £50 DPF problem has just become an expensive turbo replacement. So, how do we prevent this? We follow a strict diagnostic process, and it starts with an option that costs absolutely nothing. This is the exact 5-step action plan we recommend to resolve a DPF warning light. We start with the least invasive and escalate only when necessary. Step 1 is the regeneration run. It is entirely free. Ensure you have at least half a tank of fuel. Take the car on a main road where you can drive uninterrupted. Allow the engine oil to reach full operating temperature. Once warm, drop down a gear or two to maintain engine speeds between 2,000 and 3,000 revolutions per minute, and hold that steady speed for at least 10 to 20 minutes. Do not thrash the car. Do not redline it. High RPMs create excessive exhaust pressure that can damage a blocked system. Steady, sustained heat is what you need. If the light goes out, the problem is solved. If it remains on, do not repeat the process. The computer has possibly locked out DPF regeneration. Move to step 2. Step 2 involves chemical intervention, but this is where it pays to be precise. Most DPF cleaners on the market only address the soot in the DPF with a fuel-borne catalyst. You require a multi-action product, one that also cleans the fuel system and injectors to help reduce excess soot production, while simultaneously delivering a combustion catalyst to the DPF. DPF cleaners contain catalysts such as cerium or iron. These chemicals bond with the soot in the filter and lower the temperature required for it to ignite. You add this to a full tank of fuel, or as instructed on the bottle, and repeat the 20-minute regeneration run. A warning here: there is a persistent myth that some additives artificially raise exhaust temperatures, and that this will melt your DPF. This is scientifically inaccurate. All reputable fuel-borne catalysts work by lowering the ignition point of the soot. However, the danger is real, just misunderstood. If your DPF is severely blocked and you add a catalyst, the soot can burn off too rapidly during the next regeneration. This creates localized hotspots that can crack the ceramic. This is why, if step 2 fails, you must stop trying to force a regeneration and move to step 3. Steps 3 and 4 require a diesel specialist. They will use live data to read the exact back pressure of the filter. A healthy DPF at idle should read around 6 to 7 millibars. If it reads over 20 millibars, the blockage is severe. They will check the EGR valve, verify the pressure and temperature sensors, test the glow plug circuit, and only then, if it is safe to do so, they will initiate a forced regeneration using their diagnostic equipment. If the soot loading is too high for a safe forced regeneration, or if the filter is full of ash, we reach the final step. Step 5 is professional physical cleaning. The DPF is removed from the vehicle and placed in a specialised flushing machine or ultrasonic bath. This physically washes both the soot and the accumulated ash out of the honeycomb structure. It is highly effective and usually costs between £250 and £600. Some DPFs can be flushed whilst on the car, but it is not as effective as cleaning the DPF off the vehicle. But there is a critical detail here that many garages miss. After the filter is refitted, the technician must use their computer to reset the ECU's ash mass counter to 0. The car has no physical way of knowing the filter has been cleaned, as it simply calculates ash based on your mileage. If this software reset is skipped, the car may continue to operate in limp mode, exactly as it did before the clean. Be careful when using a cheap aftermarket replacement DPF. Their internal filter volume is often half the size of the original, meaning they fill with ash and fail twice as fast. Always clean your original unit or replace it with an OEM or high-quality aftermarket unit. Faced with these costs, some drivers look for a shortcut. They find a tuning shop offering to cut the DPF open, remove the internals, weld it back together, and delete the software from the engine computer. Now, I want to be entirely transparent about this. DPF deletes are absolutely possible. The car will run, and if the physical modification is done neatly, cutting along the top seam where an MOT tester can't see it, it can be incredibly difficult to detect during a standard visual inspection. Because it's hard to detect, many drivers think they have gotten away with a permanent, cheap fix. But you must be extremely careful if you choose to go down this route. Setting aside the environmental impact and the fact that it is an offence in the UK, the regulatory landscape is shifting rapidly. The authorities know that visual inspections are no longer enough to catch a gutted DPF. To combat this, they are preparing to introduce advanced detection equipment and roadside checks. These new, highly sensitive particle number PN counters don't rely on looking at the exhaust casing. They physically count the microscopic soot particles leaving the tailpipe. A gutted DPF, no matter how well the welding is hidden, will instantly fail this test. If you delete your DPF today, you might pass your MOT tomorrow. But when these new machines roll out, you risk being caught and fined. You have to weigh that future risk against the £250 it would have cost to simply have the original filter professionally cleaned. Once your DPF is clean, the goal is to ensure you never see that warning light again. Prevention requires 3 simple habits. First, manage your driving cycle. If you only drive in town, you must commit to taking the car on a 20-minute sustained speed run at least once a month. Second, control your soot production. I advise my clients with problematic DPFs to use a dedicated maintenance additive with every tank of fuel. Use one that provides ongoing fuel system cleaning, combustion improvement, and preferably a catalyst that helps burn off carbon. This lowers soot output, reduces the workload on your DPF, and reduces the number of regenerations. Third, control your ash accumulation. Ensure your mechanic uses the exact low SAPS oil specified by the manufacturer. If your engine is consuming oil between services, address it immediately. Consider a professional engine flush to free up sticking piston rings and reduce oil blow-by. A DPF warning light is a symptom. If you take away nothing else from this video, remember that. Find the cause, follow the strategic steps, and you will resolve the issue permanently without unnecessary expense. If you found this diagnostic approach helpful, I would appreciate it if you liked the video. It signals to the algorithm that this is reliable information, which helps other diesel owners avoid expensive mistakes. Subscribe for more measured, technical advice on emissions and engine chemistry. If you are currently dealing with a DPF issue and need a second opinion, leave the details in the comments below. I read them all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.